What's up, everybody? My name is Adam Palmer. This is Daily Nonsense. On today's show, we are going to be covering some of the big cards that sold this weekend in the Goldin 100 summer auctions. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you're a new viewer, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any future Daily Nonsense content. Let's get into the episode. I sort of feel like I have done the same episode over and over again the past couple weeks. We had the Goldin 100 auctions that ended this past weekend. And the Goldin 100 auctions, they do it a couple times a year, so I'm not sure. I think they limit it to 100. Obviously, I think that's probably pretty obvious based on the name. But the level of how important the cards are, I feel like the first Goldin 100 auctions, they really kind of chose the cards that were some of the most important cards in the hobby. Well, not necessarily chose, but with Goldin, the way that they do their marketing and advertising is they basically have to decide which auctions or which cards are going to go in which set of auctions. Because if you put too many cards into one auction that are too important, it can dilute the money that people want to spend. Because if you put $1 million Brady or $1 million LeBron or any a couple $1 million cards all together in the same auction, now they're going to be different, obviously. So you're going to have different buyers who are willing to spend the money on these types of cards. But you are just going to lose some people that are well, I can only buy one of these cards. Where hypothetically, if in the summer Goldin 100 auctions, they put some sort of card that's $1 million that could sell for $1 million, which none of this cards in this auction necessarily sold for $1 million. But then you put another card that is also in kind of a similar category into the next set of the fall 100, because based on looking at some of the other results of the auctions, it looks like they do it once a quarter, essentially. They choose, because they also have Elite and Premier. It's the amount of auctions too. This is sort of one of the other crazy things I think within sports cards is that there's so many auctions, it's almost impossible really to keep track. So the fact that I know about the Goldin 100 auctions, I think means that their marketing is pretty good. But the point is, if you put one card that you know could sell for hypothetically $1 million into the summer 100, and then you put another one in the fall 100, that is going to probably lead to buyers maybe being able to buy both of them hypothetically. But if you put those two cards into one auction, you are limiting the amount of people who have the capital to buy multiple $1 million cards all in one auction. And this is sort of hypothetical because we do see $1 million cards sell all within the same auction. But I'm just saying that the point of this is that some of the good cards are split up, I think, within Goldin, because I'm sure that Goldin has a huge inventory of cards that people want to sell, but mixing them up and not putting them all within the same auction, I think is one of Goldin's, I don't know, I guess one of their strong suits, because it feels like they have some of the more expensive auctions in the industry, or at least some of their auctions, other than a Fanatics, the Fanatics Collects auctions. It feels like Goldin's auctions are some of the strongest, and they get paid the strongest amounts in a lot of auctions in the industry. With that being said, here were just some of the big auctions that sold in this Goldin 100. Like I said, there were no $1 million sales, unfortunately, with this one. There was a over $700,000 sale of a Batman. It was graded a CGC 7, which I think that comics could be sort of a next step for people that are into sports cards, comics and magazines, because I think based on what happened during COVID in 2021 and 2022, when the big cards start selling, what ends up happening is that people start to look into other categories. They start to look at other types of assets. When they come into the sports card industry and they see, these hundreds of thousands or $1 million sales, they start looking at what are some other collectibles that are potentially available to buy. And that's why you're seeing this one, almost $800,000 for a Batman comic. Then you had a gold Prizm LeBron from 2012 that also sold for over $700,000. This is sort of the part where I say the things that I've been saying for literally the past couple weeks since the Jordan Kobe sale, is that when people see the news of those cards, they then want to go try and find what's the most iconic sets of all time. And 2012 Prizm basketball is definitely one of those sets that shapes sort of the importance of the industry. And we're kind of getting to the end of Prizm basketball here. So, like, from 2012 to 2025, that's going to be like a life cycle of a certain product. Now, Prizm isn't going away necessarily because, like, Panini's still going to make these cards, but these, like, gold first set Prizm cards for either LeBron or for any of these players, those are the reasons why you're seeing that sale. Then there was a full 1952 set of, like, high graded, like, I think there was a PSA 7 mantle in this, and I think most of them are all PSA 7s or PSA 6s of that 1952 set that sold for $640,000. This is like a piece I feel like that could go into some sort of museum, and these are the type of sports cards that I feel like, or this type of listing, I feel like is really where I think we're going to see museums and, like, people display these types of cards in their houses. A PSA 8 Brady Contenders autograph, number 2/100, so the championship ticket, that sold for $549,000. Similar to the LeBron, I've talked about this Contenders Brady being one of the cards I think that we would see an increase of, because people coming in, they want to buy the best card of the best player of all time. So the Contenders autograph, I think, I don't know. If there are lower numbered versions of this card, I could see them selling for $1 million. I believe lower numbered versions, or one that was in the number to 100, have sold in the millions before. So do I think it could get to that point again? I think it has gotten to that point, and anytime something gets to a point where a card is selling for $1 million, that's sort of my indicator that I feel like it could get into that conversation again. Realistically, it's probably the PSA 8 probably brings down the value a little bit. Like, a PSA 10 is probably, if this PSA 8 selling for, over 500,000, you're probably going to get a PSA 10 selling for $1 million. Another Jordan Kobe sold, this one from '06, Upper Deck Exquisite. The price on that card was $488,000. I don't know. It's, again, this is where I feel like I'm doing the same episode. It's the same commentary it has been on anything Jordan Kobe. I think is going to be an interesting buy right now. I wouldn't be spending this amount of money on a card like that, or a card just in general, but, like, I'm not surprised, just because it's Jordan and Kobe. The Caitlin Clark Kaboom 1/1 sold for $341,000. Not the most expensive Caitlin Clark card of all time, but from what I saw, it was the most expensive Kaboom that we've seen. I think that people are buying high-end Caitlin Clarks and they're selling their lower-end Caitlin Clarks. I think people who believe in the WNBA and they believe in Caitlin Clark are willing to spend more on cards like this. I do worry that going forward in the future, people are going to look back at the set that this card came from, and it's not going to have as much value because it was just like, it was a set that basically only included these cards. Like, the Immaculate, the Impeccable, the National Treasures, this Kaboom, they didn't come out of the individual products that they're supposed to. So I do wonder how that is going to affect these cards in the future. But clearly, people are still paying up for these expensive Caitlin Clark cards, even if they're not spending money on, like, the lower end Prizm or some of the less expensive cards for her. And the last card, a PSA 8 of the 1984 star Michael Jordan, sold for $268,000. This is one of the more interesting cards, I think, in all of the Jordan market, from the simple fact that, like, PSA didn't grade them for so long because there were counterfeiting issues, and they have been able to open up grading on this card now. So I do wonder how that will affect the Jordan 80s, the Fleer Jordan. Like, do people value this one more? Like, I don't really know exactly what's going to happen with those two cards in the future. It's really, like, one of, I think, the bigger battles between two cards that, like, the Jordan Fleer for so long was the go-to card, and now that we're seeing more of these star rookies get graded and we're seeing a PSA 8 sell for that amount, like, it is going to lead to more people maybe gravitating towards the star, because for so long it wasn't graded, and that's why people didn't want the star, consider it to be Jordan's rookie. But, like, now that you can definitely get these cards that are graded by PSA certified, maybe people will start gravitating towards that 84 set versus the 86 Fleer set, to be honest. That's all we've got for today's show. Make sure you leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about today's topics. Also, make sure to come back here to the Sports Card Nonsense YouTube channel every day for more daily nonsense. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.